In every moment we are surrounded by energies, some we feel, others we carry unknowingly. Our homes, our sacred shelters, absorb everything we bring into them, our worries, our joys, our failures, our dreams. What if I told you that within this silent exchange there exists a profound opportunity to reset, to purify, and to invite abundance into our lives? And what if the gateway to that transformation was something as humble and as ancient as salt? Salt is not just a seasoning or a mineral. It is a timeless element that carries wisdom through civilizations. Across cultures and centuries, salt has stood as a symbol of purity, preservation, and sacredness. Its presence in spiritual rituals is not coincidence. It holds within it the energy of the earth, the strength of mountains, the depth of oceans, and when placed with intention in a space you call sacred, it begins a silent yet powerful dialogue with the energies that surround you. Imagine entering a room that immediately makes you feel lighter, calmer, more grounded. That space is not accidental. It has been curated by intention and protected by clarity. Salt, when placed mindfully, serves as a guardian of such clarity. It absorbs what does not serve you, it holds your prayers, it becomes the quiet protector of your purpose. In placing it, you do not perform a superstition. You perform a sacred affirmation that your space deserves peace and your soul deserves rest. We live in a world of noise. Mental clutter, emotional weight, and constant distraction leave us disconnected from our inner clarity. In such chaos, we forget that our environment shapes our state of mind. Salt, in its stillness, reminds us to return to simplicity. When you place it in your home, you are not just decorating, you are declaring, this space is not for chaos, this space is for clarity, this space is where I begin again. The beauty of salt is that it does not demand attention, it simply does its work, it draws out heaviness, it balances energy, it reminds the space and your spirit to breathe freely. In Vedic traditions, it is often placed in corners to absorb negativity. In other spiritual practices, it is scattered around thresholds to protect against emotional disturbance. These rituals may appear small, but they are echoes of deeper truths, truths that say, your space reflects your soul. And so, the question is not whether salt can change your life. The question is, are you willing to recognize the sacred in the simple? Are you open to seeing that abundance begins with clarity, and clarity begins with conscious space? When you walk into a room filled with intentional energy, you feel inspired, you feel safe, you feel ready to create, to heal, to love. That begins not with decoration, but with dedication. The act of placing salt in your sacred space is a dedication to your peace. As we move through life, we pick up what does not belong to us. We internalize fear, carry generational patterns, and live through moments that cloud our purpose. When you place salt with awareness, you are saying to the universe, I release what no longer serves me. I choose purity, I choose presence, and I choose to live from a place of stillness. This is not an act of habit, but an act of healing, a healing that transforms the energy of your entire home. The most powerful rituals are the ones done with pure intention. You do not need grand gestures, you need presence. A small bowl of salt placed at the center of your home or in a quiet corner carries more power than the loudest words spoken without awareness. You walk past it daily, and it becomes a reminder. A reminder that your life is not random, it is sacred. Your choices shape your energy, and your energy attracts your future. Salt has the ability to hold space for transformation. Just as it preserves food, it preserves spiritual intention. It holds onto what you place into it. When you leave it in a sacred space, think of the dreams you wish to protect, the peace you want to grow, the love you want to deepen. Salt becomes the silent witness to your evolution. And when its work is done, you can discard it and start anew, just as we must release the old to welcome the new. We often underestimate the effect of our surroundings. A cluttered space creates a cluttered mind. A negative space feeds negative thoughts, but when we begin to curate our space with consciousness, everything begins to shift. Salt is one of the simplest tools for this. It grounds the energy of a room. It purifies the air, but more than that, it purifies intention, and intention, when aligned with purpose, is the root of manifestation. Think of a moment when you felt completely at peace. That moment did not arrive randomly. It was created by presence. That same presence can be invited into your home every single day. You simply need to choose it, and that choice can begin with a bowl of salt. Let it sit where your heart feels drawn. Let it absorb the weight you no longer wish to carry. Let it do the quiet work of purification, so your soul can do the bold work of creation. Your home is not just a structure of walls. It is a living, breathing extension of you. Every item you place there has a vibration. Every object holds intention. Salt, placed with sacred focus, raises the frequency of your space, and in doing so, it raises the frequency of your thoughts. High-energy thoughts lead to high-energy choices, and high-energy choices lead to the life you dream of. The path to prosperity begins with the purity of your inner and outer world. You might wonder, can something this simple be that powerful? The answer is yes, because the most powerful changes do not come from complexity. They come from consistency. When you bring salt into your sacred space again and again with love, respect, and mindfulness, you reinforce the energy of protection, clarity, and focus. Over time, this becomes a habit. Then it becomes a lifestyle. Then it becomes your truth. We are all seeking something, whether it is peace, success, healing, or direction. We often search outside for what lives inside. The act of placing salt in your sacred space is not about the salt itself. It is about what it activates within you. It reminds you that you are not powerless, that you have the ability to influence your energy, that your choices ripple through your reality, and that something as simple as salt can be a mirror to your inner clarity. Every time you see the salt in your space, let it awaken a new thought. Let it remind you of what you are becoming. Let it call you back to your center. You do not need to wait for the world to change in order to feel whole. You simply need to change the energy around you, and that begins with recognizing the sacred within the ordinary. When you place salt with purpose, you tell the universe that you are ready to live from purity and walk with power. There is a quiet confidence that comes from inner clarity. It is the kind that does not shout, but radiates. That is the energy you create when you purify your space. Salt helps you step into that clarity. It clears the fog. It allows you to hear your inner voice more clearly. It gives you the emotional space to pause, reflect, and act with wisdom. And when wisdom leads your actions, your path naturally opens toward abundance. Do not underestimate the energy of your home. If it holds the echoes of fear, pain, or exhaustion, you will feel that. But if it holds the vibration of clarity, courage, and faith, you will rise each day with purpose. Placing salt is one way to begin that energetic shift, a small act with large consequences. It is not a quick fix, it is a quiet force. It works slowly, deeply, and consistently, helping you build an environment where success becomes natural. Clarity is not something you find, it is something you create. You create it with your decisions, your rituals, your presence. When you treat your space with reverence, you begin to treat your life with reverence. You stop rushing, you start listening, you stop surviving, you start living, and all of this can begin with a bowl of salt that holds your intention to be fully here, fully awake, and fully aligned. Think of salt as a spiritual sponge. It draws in what you no longer need. It creates space for what you truly desire. When you place it with care, you are letting go of the weight you cannot name. The arguments, the anxiety, the doubt, the fear. All of it has energy, and salt has the power to absorb it, neutralize it, and release you from its hold. That freedom, that lightness is the foundation of clarity. When you are clear, your vision sharpens. You stop chasing what does not belong to you. You stop attracting what does not serve your growth. Clarity allows you to choose with confidence and create with joy. That is why salt is sacred. It is not about magic. It is about energy, and the better your energy, the stronger your magnetism. You begin to attract the right people, the right ideas, and the right opportunities into your life. So let this not be just another suggestion. Let this be a ritual, a way of coming back to yourself. Choose a place in your home that feels sacred to you. Place the salt with presence. Speak your intention softly or in silence. Return to it often. Replace it when it feels right. Let this be a dialogue between your soul and your space, one that leads to deeper clarity, cleaner energy, and a clearer path toward everything you desire. We do not need more things. We need more meaning. We do not need more noise. We need more stillness. The sacred is not far away. It lives in your home. It lives in your heart. It lives in the moments when you choose presence over distraction, intention over reaction, and clarity over confusion. Placing salt is one such moment, one sacred, simple moment of awakening. Let your life be a reflection of the energy you cultivate. Begin with your space, begin with salt, begin with clarity, and from there, everything else will follow. There is a place within you that has always known peace. It is not distracted by noise. It is not worried by change. It is the calm beneath the surface, the center within the chaos. That same stillness can be reflected in your external space. Your home is not just a shelter. It is an energetic blueprint of your inner world. In the modern world, we are constantly pulled in many directions. Our minds become crowded with thoughts, our calendars overflow with responsibilities, and our souls grow distant from stillness. In the midst of all this movement, we forget the power of a sacred pause. We forget that we need a place to return to, a place where our energy can reset, our purpose can realign, and our hearts can breathe. That place is your sacred space. A sacred space is not built with bricks. It is created with presence. It is not measured in size, but in vibration. Whether it is a corner of a room, a cushion by the window, or a small table holding sacred objects, what matters is not the location, but the intention. When you dedicate a space to peace, creativity, reflection, or prayer, you give your energy a clear destination. You are telling your soul, this is where I come back to myself. The sacred space in your home is like a charging station for your spirit. You come to it not to escape life, but to enter it more consciously. In that space, you can lay down your burdens. You can listen without interruption. You can reconnect with the essence of who you are beneath all the layers of expectation. The clarity you find in that space does not stay confined there. It flows into every room, every relationship, and every decision you make. We often underestimate how deeply our environment affects us. The colors we see, the objects we touch, and the energy that surrounds us all influence our thoughts. A sacred space acts as a filter. It keeps out what distracts and invites in what aligns. When you sit in that space, your breathing deepens, your thoughts quiet, your vision becomes clearer. You begin to operate from intention rather than reaction. Creating this space does not require expensive tools. It only asks for your sincerity. A small cushion, a candle, a plant, or even a bowl of salt placed with devotion is enough to turn a regular space into sacred ground. What you bring to that space is more important than how it looks. Your presence, your energy, your willingness to be still, those are the true elements that activate transformation. In a world that celebrates speed, a sacred space invites you to slow down. It is the place where time bends, where you are no longer rushing to be somewhere else. You are here, you are now, you are home within yourself. In this space, you begin to remember that your worth is not measured by productivity, but by presence. That your strength is not in what you control, but in what you release. The act of creating sacred space is not separate from daily life. It is deeply integrated into how you live. It teaches you to carry mindfulness into everything you do. When you prepare that space, you are also preparing your mind. When you enter it, you are entering a relationship with your own consciousness. You are saying to the universe, I am ready to be fully present. I am ready to receive. I am ready to rise. Salt, as mentioned before, is one of the most ancient tools for holding sacred energy. When you place salt in your sacred space, it absorbs the energy that does not belong there. It keeps the environment clear, light, and energetically focused. It helps that space become a sanctuary not just physically, but spiritually, and when you tend to that salt, you are also tending to the quality of your intention. There are many ways to honor your sacred space. You might begin your day there with gratitude. You might end your day there with reflection. You might sit in silence, listen to soft music, or read something that nourishes your soul. You might simply breathe. Whatever you do there, let it be honest. Let it be healing. Let it be a place where your outer world pauses, so your inner world can speak. Your sacred space can evolve with you. As your needs change, the energy of that space can shift. You might feel called to move it, to redesign it, to bring in new objects that resonate with your current path. That is not only allowed, it is essential. Just as you grow, your space must grow. Let it be a reflection of your current truth, not a shrine to your past self. You are not creating a perfect place. You are creating a living space of energy. The sacred is not found in flawlessness. It is found in authenticity. A leaf on the floor, a soft light, a quiet corner. These can hold more magic than an elaborate altar. The only requirement is that the space feels honest, that it holds your truth, that it welcomes your whole self without judgment. Many people think they do not have time for a sacred space, but the truth is, you cannot afford to live without one. In this fast-paced world, your nervous system craves stillness. Your spirit craves silence. Your mind craves spaciousness. Just 5 minutes a day in your sacred space can change how you respond to life. It can help you move from survival to serenity. In your sacred space, you become the observer. You begin to witness your thoughts rather than be consumed by them. You notice your breath. You feel your body. You connect with the rhythm of your own heart. And in that connection, you remember your essence. You remember that you are not here to race through life. You are here to experience it deeply and with love. Do not wait for a crisis to create a sanctuary. Build it now. Make it part of your lifestyle. Make it so natural that your body begins to long for that space each day. When you give yourself this consistent gift of stillness, you build emotional resilience, you gain clarity, you cultivate joy. You become a calmer and more powerful presence in the lives of those around you. Your sacred space is not only for healing, it is also a place of creation. It is where ideas are born, visions are nurtured, and purpose becomes clear. When your energy is focused and undisturbed, your inner guidance speaks more loudly. You are able to receive insight, solve problems creatively, and connect dots you previously missed. It is in this space that your next chapter begins to take form. In the ancient traditions, temples were not just buildings, they were vessels for divine energy. Your sacred space can become such a temple. It can be a doorway between your everyday mind and your higher self. You are not worshipping objects, you are honoring the energy they hold. You are saying to yourself and the universe, I believe in the power of space. I believe in the power of intention. I believe in the sacredness of life. Let your sacred space also be a place of gratitude. When you enter it, pause to acknowledge what is going well. Speak your thanks out loud or silently. Gratitude is one of the most transformative energies. When you bring it into your space, everything begins to shift. Challenges become teachers, delays become redirections. You begin to see that life is not happening to you, but through you. Salt placed in this space helps anchor that gratitude. It stabilizes the energy and invites you to ground your intentions. You might write your hopes on paper and place them beside the salt. You might hold the salt in your hands and release a fear you are ready to let go. Over time, these simple acts become sacred rituals, and rituals have the power to heal. The more you tend to your sacred space, the more it begins to hold your energy. You can feel it the moment you step into that area. The air feels different, the silence feels alive, it becomes easier to enter a meditative state. Your thoughts slow down, your energy lifts. You are reminded that you are more than your problems, you are part of something greater. Some days, you may feel resistance to enter that space. That is when you need it the most. Sacred space is not for perfect moments. It is for real moments. When you feel tired, bring your fatigue there. When you feel angry, bring your honesty there. When you feel lost, bring your questions there. Your sacred space does not judge. It holds you exactly as you are. There is wisdom in consistency. A few minutes each day in that space is more powerful than 1 hour once a month. The repetition builds a field of energy. You begin to associate that space with peace, clarity, and inspiration. Your nervous system begins to relax the moment you enter it, and when that energy becomes strong enough, it begins to transform the entire home. You might even find that people who visit your home feel the energy without knowing why. They may comment on how peaceful it feels, how calm they feel after leaving. That is the ripple effect of sacred energy. When you elevate your own vibration, it naturally elevates those around you. You become a lighthouse, not by speaking loudly, but by simply shining consistently. We are all seeking connection, not just to others, but to ourselves and to something greater. Your sacred space is a bridge. It connects the physical to the spiritual, the external to the internal, the known to the unknown. It reminds you that no matter how busy life gets, you always have access to presence. You always have a place to begin again. Let your sacred space be a commitment to yourself, a promise that you will not abandon your peace, a declaration that your energy matters, a statement that even in a world of chaos, you choose clarity. Let salt ground that intention. Let each object placed there carry the frequency of your truth. Let that space become a mirror, reflecting your highest self. And as your sacred space deepens, so does your life. You begin to move with more purpose. You speak with more awareness. You listen with more compassion. You love with more openness. The clarity you cultivate in that space flows into every action, every conversation, every dream. You are no longer waiting for the world to give you peace. You are creating it within and around you. So find that space, dedicate it, respect it, return to it again and again. Let it become the anchor in the storm, the spark of creativity, the home of your truest energy. And let salt, in its humble sacredness, hold the purity of your presence. Because when you make space for the sacred makes space for you. In every corner of our homes, energy lives. It rests in silence, it moves with intention, and it reflects the thoughts we carry. Whether we notice it or not, everything we place in our environment carries a message. It holds vibration, it speaks a language of focus or distraction, and it either brings us closer to our truth or further from it. That is why the placement of even the smallest object matters. It is not about decoration, it is about energy. There is a universal law that often goes unnoticed, yet it influences everything we attract into our lives. It is the law of conscious placement. It is the awareness that where you place things, how you place them, and the energy you place them with, creates a field of intention, and intention is not passive. It moves through the unseen, shaping circumstances, guiding people, and opening doors. When you live with this awareness, you no longer live by accident. You begin to live on purpose. Salt, in this context, becomes more than a mineral. It becomes a sacred tool for intentional living. When you place it in a specific space with awareness, you are activating a flow of energy that supports purification, protection, and prosperity. This act is not superstition. It is symbolic alignment. It is you partnering with the deeper forces of the universe and saying, I am ready to live consciously. I am ready to receive what is aligned with my highest good. Abundance is not a random gift. It is a frequency, it is a natural response to clarity, purpose, and focused energy. The more intentional you are with your environment, the more effortlessly you draw abundance to you. Salt becomes a messenger. It tells the universe you are ready to release what is heavy and welcome what is light. You are ready to make room for blessings, not only around you, but within you. Think of every item in your space as part of a conversation. What is it saying to you each day? Is it reminding you of who you are becoming, or is it pulling you back into old versions of yourself? Conscious placement is about choosing what belongs in your field of energy. When you place salt with a focused heart in a sacred corner, you are saying, this is the vibration I invite into my life. You are creating a physical echo of your internal vision. Many people ask, why am I stuck? Why is abundance not flowing into my life? The answer often lies in the environment they have unconsciously built. Cluttered energy creates scattered results. When your space is filled with distraction, your mind becomes unclear. When you make room, when you clear energy with intention, when you place objects consciously, the flow begins to shift. Abundance follows clarity like water flows toward openness. Salt absorbs the energy that no longer serves your evolution. When placed with intention, it becomes a magnet for new beginnings. It holds space for clarity to take root and grow. It is not simply a tradition of the past. It is a living, breathing practice of the present. You are not performing a ritual. You are aligning with a law that responds to your conscious action. The more present you are in that action, the more powerful the result. There is a quiet intelligence to how the universe operates. It responds not just to what we say, but to how we live. It watches where we place our focus, our time, our care. If you place objects in your space randomly, without thought, the result is a life that reflects that same randomness. But if you place things with sacred awareness, if you honor the energy of your environment, then your life becomes an echo of intention. That is where abundance begins. It is not about how much you have. It is about how clearly you place what you have. A small bowl of salt placed with reverence in a clean, quiet space can shift more energy than an entire room filled with expensive objects placed in chaos. Conscious placement is about alignment. When the internal world and the external world match in vibration, manifestation becomes natural. It becomes effortless. It becomes joyful. The energy you place in your environment does not end at the walls. It extends into your life. It moves into your relationships, your work, your dreams. When you take time to place something sacred in your space, you are sending a ripple into every area of your being. The bowl of salt becomes more than salt. It becomes a declaration, a silent message to the universe. I am ready. I am focused. I am in alignment with abundance. People who live with intention radiate something different. Their homes feel different, their conversations feel different. That is because they have stopped living reactively. They understand that life is shaped not only by grand actions but by small, consistent moments of awareness. Placing salt in your space may seem small, but it is one of those moments. Done with consciousness, it becomes a powerful shift in the energy of your life. You are not separate from your environment. You are in constant relationship with it. When you walk into a room and feel drained, something is out of alignment. When you walk into a room and feel inspired, something is in harmony. The placement of salt in your sacred space becomes a tuning fork. It helps harmonize your space with the energy of possibility, and when you live in possibility, you live in potential. That is where abundance finds you. The law of conscious placement does not require belief to function. It responds to energy. It responds to the vibration of your actions. You can test it yourself. Place the salt with awareness. Clear the area before placing it. Speak your intention softly. Sit with it for a few minutes each day. Notice what shifts, not just in your space, but in your thoughts, your choices, your outcomes. You will feel the difference. You will begin to notice how certain objects hold energy. A gift from someone who no longer aligns with you might carry a heaviness. A photo that once brought joy may now bring nostalgia that drains you. The salt becomes your partner in discernment. It helps reveal what needs to go, what needs to stay, and what needs to be invited in. This clarity creates energetic spaciousness, and spaciousness invites abundance. Abundance does not mean material wealth alone. It means emotional richness, creative flow, spiritual depth, physical vitality, and meaningful connection. When you live by the law of conscious placement, you begin to draw all forms of abundance into your life. You become a clearer vessel. Your frequency rises, and what you once chased begins to chase you. That is the beauty of alignment. You are the creator of your space. You are the architect of your energy. No one else can do this for you. When you choose to place salt in a sacred space with pure intention, you are reclaiming that creative power. You are stepping out of reaction and into conscious design. You are not waiting for life to change. You are changing the energy from which life arises. This is why some homes feel heavy and others feel light. It is not about the furniture, it is about the frequency. Conscious placement raises frequency. It honors the invisible forces that shape the visible results. It tells the energy around you what matters. It speaks the language of purpose, and purpose is the true magnet for abundance. Your space becomes a teacher. It teaches you to be mindful, to be present, to be clear. It reflects what you prioritize. When you walk into your sacred area and see the salt, you are reminded to release what is no longer needed. You are reminded to choose again. You are reminded that your life is sacred and your energy is sacred. This reminder leads to better decisions. Better decisions lead to better outcomes. In this way, you are always in a relationship with the law of conscious placement. Whether you are aware of it or not, you are practicing it. Every drawer, every wall, every shelf speaks your choices back to you. The beauty is that you can always begin again. You can always rearrange your space to match who you are becoming. Salt can be the starting point. A quiet, sacred anchor in a world of noise. Let it sit in a place where you often pause, near your meditation cushion, on your desk, by your bedside. Let it hold your intention for clarity, peace, and growth. Let it absorb the noise and amplify the stillness. Over time, it becomes a silent coach. It holds your vision when you forget. It keeps the energy aligned even when you are tired. That is the power of placement. When the external space is clear, the internal space becomes spacious. When the internal space becomes spacious, inspiration flows. When inspiration flows, aligned action becomes effortless, and from aligned action, abundance naturally emerges. That is the journey of conscious living. It begins not with force, but with focus. It begins not with struggle, but with sacred space. The universe is always responding to you. It listens to the language of energy. It responds to clarity, not confusion. It moves toward focus, not chaos. When you begin placing with intention, you are participating in the dance of creation. You are no longer hoping for change. You are becoming the source of it. This shift in mindset is the true secret of manifesting abundance. Do not wait until you have everything you want to start living intentionally. Begin now with what you have. Begin with a corner of your room. Begin with a bowl of salt. Begin with a prayer. Begin with your presence. As you honor the small, the great will follow. As you place with awareness, the universe responds in kind. This is not magic. This is alignment in action. Life does not have to be hard to be meaningful. It has to be intentional. That is where power lives. That is where joy expands. That is where abundance becomes real. You already have the tools. You already have the wisdom. You already have the space. What remains is your decision to use them with presence, with care, and with love. So today, return to your space with new eyes. Clear what no longer resonates. Place what holds power, add salt with sacred purpose, and as you do, speak your truth into that space, speak your vision, speak your gratitude, then allow the silence to speak back, because the moment you place something with conscious intention, you place your life on the path of true abundance. You have now seen how something as simple as salt can become a powerful force when used with purpose. You have discovered that the space you live in is not separate from your spirit, but a reflection of it. You have realized that conscious placement is not about decoration, but about energy, clarity, and alignment. When you treat your space as sacred, life begins to respond with greater peace, deeper joy, and unexpected abundance. This is not a theory or a tradition to admire from afar. It is a way of living that begins with presence, expands through intention, and transforms through action.